To demonstrate just how truly abysmal the J.J. Abrams Kelvin timeline Star Trek films are, let's take a look at the film that's considered by some to be the best of those three movies, 2012's Star Trek Into Darkness. And I want to specifically focus on the plot surrounding the villain, Khan. I'm not going to do a plot breakdown, I'm just focusing purely on the central story regarding the main bad guy, because that's what the film ultimately hinges on. And so the utter stupidity of the conflict in the story really does speak volumes about the quality of the film itself. I'm skipping all of the other extraneous crash, bang, wallop action and cheap gags, and getting straight down to business. So at first, Khan goes by the name John Harrison for some reason, and he's just sort of blowing stuff up on Earth because he's a terrorist with no real justification for being one, but he's a bad guy and Captain Kirk is ordered to track him down to bring him to justice. The Enterprise is equipped with new long-range stealth torpedoes to fire at him if and when they find him. They really need 72 torpedoes to kill one guy? Anyway, Khan is on Kronos because he can beam from Earth to the Klingon homeworld thanks to magical long-range transwarp beaming. Scotty decides to resign because he refuses to sign off on these new torpedoes, because he's not allowed to see the schematics of them, because they're classified for some reason. Wow, I wonder what's inside them. So later, when they get to Kronos, Kirk fights with some Klingons in yet another contrived action sequence inserted into the film to further keep the audience distracted from how little plot there actually is, which is kind of the entire problem with this film. Khan kills all of the Klingons and then just dutifully agrees to surrender to Kirk once he finds out exactly how many of the fancy torpedoes are on board the Enterprise. 72, Spock tells him. Boy, I wonder what could possibly be inside those torpedoes. Do you think this obsession with them and all of the secrecy concerning them might mean there's more to the torpedoes than we were led to believe? And considering everyone in the cinema already knew that this John Harrison was in fact Khan Noonien Singh, and is probably familiar with both the infinitely superior Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan and the basic plot of Space Seed, do you think the number of torpedoes might also suggest something about their contents? Anyway, Kirk futilely punches Khan a few times, but can't harm him because Khan is genetically engineered. Khan accepts being taken prisoner aboard the Enterprise. And it's a moment that seems very similar to how Loki got taken prisoner in the first Avengers film, which also came out in 2012. Well, to the surprise of no one, inside each torpedo is a cryogenically frozen person, a member of the SS Botany Bay, Khan's spaceship, which was found floating in space. It's been adrift for like 300 years or so, and Admiral Marcus woke Khan up to ask him for his help. He wanted Khan's assistance in helping him to build a more militarized Starfleet, so that he could better respond to an uncivilized threat in a civilized time. And for that, he needed a warrior's mind, Khan's mind, to design weapons and warships. This is just astoundingly stupid. Khan left Earth 300 years ago. What the hell would he know about 23rd century starships and weapons that hadn't even been invented in his time? Why and how would his advice be of any benefit to people in the distant future? Yes, he's very intelligent, but he's not an engineer or a scientist, and even if he was, his knowledge is 300 years out of date. What's he going to suggest to Starfleet? Is he going to say something like, "You see the number of torpedoes and phasers that you have on that starship? Yeah, well, we'll just add more of them. And make the ship faster. And add extra shields. And make the photon torpedoes more powerful." That ought to do it. Next time I want to improve the Wi-Fi reception in my house, maybe I'll go back in time and ask advice from someone from the 18th century. I bet they'll have some useful ideas. What do you reckon? In fact, just imagine how difficult it would be to explain to someone from the year 1700 or even the year 1900 what a computer was or how it worked. Explain to them how a smartphone operates. Imagine how that conversation would go. Imagine asking someone from 300 years ago how to build a more powerful jet fighter, keeping in mind that planes hadn't been invented 300 years ago. What benefit, what advice could Khan possibly offer expert scientists and engineers in the 23rd century? And has anyone considered the possibility that the Federation, which is vast and comprised of hundreds of worlds and thousands of races, billions of alien beings, you're telling me that a genetically engineered human from 300 years in the past is still smarter than all of them? Even if Khan had the highest IQ in the galaxy, intelligence quotient alone is useless without knowledge. To use a very poor analogy, the fastest and most intelligent CPU out there is only as useful as the quality of the operating system and the software installed on the computer. Sorry if that's a poor analogy, but you get my meaning. But what makes even less sense is the whole torpedo thing. I mean, what if Kirk, who didn't know what was in the torpedoes at the time, had actually decided to use them? Well, that would have killed Khan's fellow genetically engineered friends. So why did Khan put them inside torpedoes that also have warheads? Seems like a very stupid and reckless place to store his fellow crew members. So I guess Admiral Marcus discovered them and decided to give the torpedoes to Kirk. Now Khan obviously wanted to get his crew back, so why did Admiral Marcus want the Enterprise crew to use these torpedoes to destroy Khan? Marcus clearly wanted to start a war with the Klingons, okay, and presumably he wanted to get rid of Khan and all of the genetically engineered people as well, so why not just vaporize all of the sleeping genetically engineered people with a phaser and just give Kirk regular long-range torpedoes without any people cryogenically frozen inside them? At least that way, there would be nothing suspicious about the torpedoes, and no reason why the Enterprise crew would want to investigate them. After all, there was never any guarantee that Kirk was going to fire all 72 torpedoes. This is so painfully contrived and stupid. Moreover, why did Khan even go to Kronos in the first place? He could have used the transwarp beaming technology to go anywhere in the galaxy. Instead, he goes to the one planet that Marcus wants him to go to because Marcus wants to use the Enterprise and the special torpedoes to start a war with the Klingons in the first place. It seems strangely convenient that Khan would travel to that planet of all places. The Enterprise once again gets trounced by a vastly superior ship later in the film, the USS Vengeance. I have no idea how the Enterprise is even the flagship of the Federation in these films. It was nearly destroyed in the first film, it's nearly destroyed in this second film, and it is actually destroyed in the third film. And you know already how Kirk dies in this film to save the Enterprise, only to be resurrected 5 minutes later by the superblood of Khan. The scene is meant to mirror Spock's sacrifice at the end of Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Only in Into Darkness, Kirk's death has absolutely no emotional impact whatsoever. So anyway, with Khan's blood, I guess McCoy has now found a way to cure death. Spock then shouts the following. Boy. He then gets angry and super violent, again. That's entirely in keeping with his character, right? And fights Khan in a fit of rage. Anyway, eventually Khan is captured and placed in stasis, and then the Enterprise is fixed and flies off on a 5-year mission. I thought they were already on the 5-year mission. Why is it only starting now in the second film? Well, whatever. I remember at the time of its release, Into Darkness kind of managed to fool a section of the fan base into believing that this was actually a good film because of its fast pacing and relentless action sequences, which are so distracting that the audience has no real time to sit and think about what's going on with the story. The audience is just constantly bombarded by frantic on-screen activity and visual eye candy that they don't really have a moment to catch their breath and notice the problems with the story. The constant fast-paced action and explosions helps to disguise the fact that the script is riddled with plot holes. Into Darkness is an extremely poor reimagining or reinterpretation of the iconic Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. and the enormous gulf in quality between the two films just goes to show how far Star Trek as a franchise had fallen by 2012. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.